Good evening. Good evening, everybody. All right. So, as I'm sure most of you are aware, Kurtaner has been on a string of amazing marathon streams of his own. His last one being a combined total of almost 62 hours. Although the second time he got cut off, and this was at the 48-hour mark, he finally did go to sleep. So he still, I don't think, has woken up. I tried him, on Signal on his regular phone. I tried the phone call. It goes straight to voicemail, so that thing wasn't plugged in when he fell asleep. So we're waiting to see if he wakes up during this, and maybe we'll add him to the show. But tonight, one of our viewers has stepped up and volunteered as tribute. So we've got Ruby coming on the show tonight to talk about what's going on over in England and Northern Ireland and all the fun, plus all the standard stuff that we normally talk about on these nights. So let's not yet. Let's go live now. Maybe. There we go. All right, we are up.
How are we doing, everyone?
Yes. Good evening, everybody in chat. Yes, so one thing, for people out there, that, care about all these fun things, which I do too, there we go. I have a bunch of the lights off, because it's like 90 degrees in this room for some reason, so I've only got the front light on, so I'm a little more shadowed tonight, but, whatever. I didn't want to melt, and these two lights over here make me sweat if it's this hot. And we don't have the air conditioners up and running yet because, well, it's still kind of been winter until. I did add the better TT emotes, or some of them, to the chat there. Seems to be working. I added a few more things to the points. So you can now buy nothing with your points, which is my favorite. Thank you to chat for the suggestions there. I got the suggestions to add these things in the ideas and suggestions channel on the Discord. So, I try and do what people suggest in there as best I can when the time shows up. So everyone should definitely join in and, have fun telling me what to do there.
Fucking subscribe, fucking do whatever, like, follow, subscribe, whatever the fuck, guys do on Twitch. I don't know, but just follow Gregg. It's cool.
Well, thank you. Yes. Follow, like, subscribe. I like eating food. It helps, and it kind of gets me there. So we have all kinds of fun stuff to talk about. But I wanted to start with our new guest here, which we didn't get to announce, by talking about what is going on over in England right now and over in Northern Ireland. So first up, I Prince Phillip, of course, has passed. And
is he a Nazi?
And is he a Nazi? Because Twitter has been arguing over this so hard today that it was actually trending up to number 5 for 10 plus hours. So is he a Nazi?
I don't think he is a Nazi.
I mean, that's a simple answer.
It's a pretty clear
but
answer.
Let's expand on that, right? So the expansion on that is a ton of people were calling him a Nazi because members of his family, actually literally married Nazis publicly and on purpose, and because they were Nazis. So the thing to understand about Philip, though, is, and I'm doing this because I really care. Like, when we say Punch a Nazi Day, I want every day to be Punch a Nazi Day, but I want us to really be punching Nazis, and for all you can hate the whole classist systems and the royals and whatever else you want to feel, he wasn't a Nazi. He went to World War II, he joined up with the Navy, he started at the bottom, and he went to punch Nazis. He didn't have to. Being a royal and a prince, like, you don't have to go punch Nazis if you don't want to.
No, he actually went out and fought.
Yeah, he chose to go fight them, and his family members who went off to basically fuck Nazis, because his sisters married Nazis. He wrote them off, so much so that they weren't even invited to like his royal wedding or anything else. So, like, the argument is kind of stupid to me in that he is most definitely and publicly and provably not a Nazi. I don't understand what these people on Twitter were doing all day calling him one, because there are a lot of freaking Nazis in that family. He's just not one of them. So
it's just association. It's just association because they've got fucking nothing better to string their ties together with than complete speculation. And Prince Phillip was not a fucking Nazi. He was on a ship called. No, he wasn't on the ship. There was a guy called Mountbatten who was killed. He was the Queen's cousin, I believe. But they fought the fucking Nazis. They weren't a fucking Nazi.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wallace Simpson and Prince Edward, was that his name? King George's brother,
Yeah.
the one that abdicated the throne. He actually had meetings with the Nazis, so he might have actually been a fucking Nazi, and he might have had an American with him for Nazi shit. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing today was just, there's a lot of talk about how to treat the dead, right? Like, DMX is fast. And people online are talking a lot of interesting stuff about what a wonderful man he was. And, I mean, yes, there are some good things he did in his life. I mean, that tribute to Aaliyah is, like, one of the best, like, things I've seen someone like him do. But, he also did a lot of bad things. His record, and not musically, but, like, in terms of, like, beating people, his drug abuse, his stuff, like, all of this was predictable. And there are a lot of people in his past that he's wronged that are out there saying, why are people holding him up? I don't know.
Prince Philip, he went over to speak to some university students in like Eastern Asia, and these were British students, and he said, if you stay out here any longer, then you're going to come back with slit eyes. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you racist motherfucker.
Yeah, so Edwards was definitely the bad guy, but I would just love to have people understand that when we are really pointing out who the damn Nazis are, like, it's not hard to pick these people out, and it's not the ones who punched Nazis, it's the ones who were Nazis. How hard is that to understand? But whatever, The other thing going on right now in your area of the world is, for lack of a better way of saying this, I mean, the Troubles are back. The Troubles describe a time period when, you could expect a car bomb weekly in Ireland.
The Troubles never left.
I mean, to the extent that, like, buses were being set on fire while in motion, they kind of slowed down a little. Just a little. I mean, you're over there. Like, so what is your feeling on this?
I'm quite insulated. I mean, half of my family were Irish immigrants to the UK, like within second generation. So they're all they were very, I need to get my terminology right here. They were very Republicans. They were very independent Irish people. There's a certain wall where all of this shit is happening, and if you ever go there, it's really weird. It's a place of peace and calm, and but then there's a lot of violence behind that as well, and you're never really truly safe there. Like, I can't remember the name of the road. I have actually been there myself, but it's a weird place to go. There's mules all over the wall, and we're talking like an actual wall that separates. And because you guys must know the history behind this, that the whole Protestant and Catholic different segments of society, and the people that want to stay with the crown, and the people that wanted to leave, and that is still systemic. Like, it's still not systemic. It's still
there. People still feel it. People still are on those sides. They just
exactly
stop killing.
They stopped firebombing each other for a few years.
Yeah, but they didn't even do that. The thing is, it just didn't get reported.
Okay, I mean, so yeah, so that's another problem that we're having right now is here in America, we don't see a lot of coverage of it. Even as buses are set on fire, like multiple at this point, it's not showing up on the major news cycle. It's not being pushed. Like they mentioned it off for a split second, and that was it. I found my best description of what's actually happening in a TikTok video that was shared onto Twitter by just some random person in Northern Ireland actually trying to explain what's going on to people. And it's crazy. Like, why don't the news want to tell us that this is happening?
Because they don't want to stoke the tensions.
They normally do, though. Normally the news is like, let's get some more good. I mean, it's good footage for them. It draws views. That's what they care about.
But this is what I mean. And I'm being fucked off this week with a geezer called Piers Morgan. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, because he came over here and tried to have a show, and people ran him back.
Fucking Tucker Carlson. Who the fuck you going over and talking with some right-wing cunt and making it look like we all English people represent that way?
Yeah. No, Piers Morgan is a piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, he came over here. He tried to have a show. He tried to talk to lefties. People realized quickly that he was a real piece of shit, and he went away. It was great. We sent him home.
He's a fucking idiot. He wiretapped dead schoolgirls' parents' phones. Like who are you to have any moral judgment on anything when you've done the shit that you've done?
Yeah, he has none. He has none. He has none whatsoever. So good times. Yeah, so right now what we're watching happening in Northern Ireland, and by watching I mean only catching glimpses of because the major news doesn't seem to want to cover it, is a fight for a group of people who want to stay after Brexit. They want to stay in England, and a group of people who want to leave and remain as part of Europe, as I understand it.
Personally, Greg, I don't even think it's got anything to do with Brexit.
Okay, but the people on the ground are saying, like, that's what they're doing it for. You think it's just the old troubles again, and this is their reason for doing it right now.
Yeah, it's a reason to, to
restart things.
Yeah, it's a stimulant,
It's like, the match that lit the fire, but the fire,
exactly,
all the fuel was already there on the ground waiting for it.
Exactly, yeah. And I didn't vote for Brexit.
Most young people didn't.
But the EU are very much stoking this fire as well.
I would suspect so. They would probably want to have that win of Northern Ireland and Ireland in general wanting to stay in Europe, just as kind of a fuck you to England. But it's interesting because the Northern Ireland thing, as it's being reported, we're hearing 100 different versions of the story over here because it's not major journalists really giving us good coverage on the ground.
Journalists can't get in there.
Yeah, I would assume a lot of journalists also are too scared to get right on the ground right up front because who knows what happens to them. But okay, so there's people on the streets. There are, somewhat marches, but they're unorganized. There are, again, like I mentioned a couple times, a couple buses have been lit on fire. A bunch of other, violence happening. And my question is this, is one side doing the violence, the one that wants to stay or the one that wants to leave? Or is this just it lit and they're both being that violent at each other? Like, is there anything we can look at here that makes any sense other than it's just a big fight?
To understand it, you need to look at the history. And you need to...
They built a wall on purpose. They
built a wall on purpose. I mean, you had the Ulster Defence Force, which are the pro the Orange Order, the pro royalist unionists, and then you had the Catholic Irish original kind of
the splitters.
But they weren't even splitters. England never owned Ireland, really.
Yeah.
uh, not England, Great Britain, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Right. That was obviously
Uh,
another question. Like, what do you guys act like? There's 50 ways. The United Kingdom, Great Britain. Yeah, I mean, there's.
yeah, United Kingdom, Great Britain, where however you want to the semantics, but like, I come from a fucked up situation because half my family are from South London, half of them from Ireland. So like, I've got half of my family that fucking hate England, and half of my family that hate the Irish. So like, and there's a lot of people like me, like a lot of people like me that are kind of half and half. And like I've heard stories from back back when things were kind of happening, but fundamentally what it comes down to is I don't think there is a reason for it all anymore. I think they just like fighting. I think they do it because it's been bred into them, and at the end of the day, they fight for something that really isn't. And this is my opinion coming from someone that lives like in London and is completely away from this. Like,
Yeah, you're not there on the ground.
So I'm not there. I don't know. Like, I'm only speculating from where I sit. But this has been going on so long, and when you look at the history behind it all, there's so much history and so deep rooted in society that I think it's just something that's a progression of history. And that goes on to what I was saying to you before the chat, Greg, where I think the polarity between the Irish is almost like the fault, not the like a fault in democracy, which if you're not careful in America will then become the same because there's so many different opposing views in America now.
I mean, we've had in the last 2 weeks 7 mass shootings. So, the numbers of problems are only rising here. They are not going down.
Yeah, exactly. And like, what's the fucking end game here? Like, what is the fucking end game?
I mean, for some of them, they just want out. I mean, they're just it's a way out. It's suicide by cop. But for the general, society here, it's a tough one. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to just decide to break it up and put everyone with their own beliefs on either side of a border and then say,
That's it. But I think
then you've got a border where people on both sides of that border hate each other that much, and that's not a recipe for anything good either. So
exactly, but that's exactly what happens in Belfast.
Yeah, and here we are with everything starting right back up and getting going again, thanks to what looks to be a lot of outside interference. I mean, it's not just Europe either who are fanning these flames a little. I mean, we all know, and it's the little reporting we've seen has talked about Russia's interference here, and again, related to their interference with Brexit.
My personal view on that is that it's really still quite understated what they've done.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion on it. I don't think you can understand the psyops that they pulled. In my opinion, I don't think
being there on the ground. No, like we weren't subjected to what they did to the people on the ground there in England.
Not even in England. I think across the westernized world.
Oh, absolutely. They had us all. I was just referring to their work on Brexit. Like, there's all kinds of research into what they did, and there's papers on it, but reading it isn't the same as being subjected to it, like you can read about different studies that tortured people, and it's different than being the person who was tortured, right? So it's I don't see it getting better personally. I just it's not the world I want to see right now, but I don't see a way out. I don't see how it gets better. I'm hoping brighter minds than me do and solve it. As was said in the chat, we have the problem that well, I mean, the Tories are incompetent, and they aren't. I mean,
fuck the Tories,
yeah.
But also fuck Labour. This whole fucking multi-party system is fucked.
100%. You've got the same problem we do with the Republicans and Democrats. I mean, it's kind of two parties, but also they're both fucked. So, like, what does it matter?
If anyone wants to check out a really good UK politician, check her out, Caroline Lucas. Caroline Lucas,
Yeah.
Member of Parliament down in Brighton. She is a lovely lady. She's an activist. She's the chairman of the Green Party, but I don't know her personally, but I do know people who do know her personally. Like, that is, in my opinion, not the way forward, because it would never be mainstream, but it serves as a bit of ballast to the bullshit between the two political party system.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, so let's talk about some of the other fun things from today. And the last few days. I mean, not fun at all and horrible. And I mean, again, what the Amazon workers down in the south there, they voted only 16% unionize. That is a big loss for the unionize effort. And we know that is in all influenced by the amount of work that Bezos and the company did for disinformation, for intimidation, just everything they did. The words we heard from the inside of the people who were turned with bonus packages to then convince everyone around them not to do it, and 100 other horrible anti-unionist things. There's already a lawsuit. It's absolutely crazy what's going on there. The number right now is up to Bezos is making over $40 million an hour on his current wealth.
What do you think about him asking to reduce the corporate tax and everything like that? Is that just a show for, like, to make him? Is that just a vanity project? Not project, but obviously a vanity statement to, like, obviously he's so fucking rich anyway, isn't it? It's not gonna make a difference to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's making moves that basically are attempting to humanize himself, and it's not going to work. Everyone knows who he is and what he's done.
It also doesn't really matter to him. Not like the corporate tax is really going to affect him. Amazon's main business strategy has been about minimizing their profits and reinvesting all that money back into the company. So they're not going to pay a whole lot of corporate tax. And he's not drawing a direct income that really matters to him because his net worth goes up from his ownership so much that he can just rely on that all the time.
Yeah, so even if they did, pay more in taxes on the profit that they show, it's always a small number because corporate accounting is wonderful.
Fucking high corporate tax up to fucking 60%.
Put it back to where it was, pre-Reagan over here, and maybe we pay for the entire infrastructure plan.
Exactly.
So
redistribute fucking wealth.
100%. Let's go. Yeah, well, so the fight with Elon Musk is is a fight over space as well, because Bezos has his Blue Origin project, which is his, vanity space project, but unlike Musk, Blue Origin is way behind in terms of their technology, in terms of their launch capabilities. I mean, Musk with SpaceX is way ahead, as we know, as we've seen. Like, it's crazy, but that has been an interesting fight to watch.
The Starlink project?
I think Starlink is interesting in that it is giving pretty solid, internet access to groups of people who didn't have it. My major complaint with the Starlink project, besides any of the privacy issues about having that many little satellites so close to Earth, and what he might do with them, is the fact that, yeah, it's basically so much space junk that astronomers and researchers out there looking at the skies are now getting interfered with by this massive mesh of Starlink satellites. It's getting in the way of everyone actually trying to do that kind of work, and they aren't even at full capacity yet. They aren't even close. They plan on launching hundreds of thousands of more of these things.
It's ridiculous. But not that I'm an advocate for it, but like, I've seen lots in a bit of outside news recently about
Crazy.
Russia's capabilities of fucking with the internet lines that run between the UK and the US, and the rest of Europe and the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it almost gives you a different option, you know, a different availability to.
Well, what you got to think about when you're thinking about, you know, the lines like that is remember that there's so much traffic going between the continents that there's these undersea cables that are gigantic that handle the load of transferring between these giant nodes, and you know, so we've got, you know, there's multiple heading off of America's west coast and off of the east coast, and but what that does is it concentrates a hell of a lot of traffic in small spots. So you know, if you actually like gained access and serious control over, say, 40 or so locations, you would get 90% of the internet traffic.
The cables down there already.
Well, yeah. So we know that over in Asia, the Russians have gone underwater and done stuff to the cables and put like equipment on it to monitor things. There have been articles in the past about that. It's just
I'm not knowledgeable enough on how that works, but like. Surely it's a slight concern, you know.
I mean, it's a big concern because it's a consolidation of all of the traffic. Like here in America, a lot of people don't even know, but we've got a point in Kansas that's a Sprint. Well, it's Sprint, but now it's joint owned by a bunch of people, where a fuck ton of U.S. traffic actually centralizes going to either of the coasts. It's this giant. Backbone spot, and I mean, if you gained somehow control over the traffic flowing through that, you'd have, you know, a view into.
You'd have a monopoly.
You'd have a view into 70% of all U.S. internet traffic, and so if people don't think Russia has the power and money to do stuff like that, they're not paying attention.
I mean, fuck me, what they've done with these nuclear missiles that now can send nuclear tidal waves.
Oh yeah, the radioactive tidal wave missiles. That's wow, right? I mean, sure, let's just send radioactive tidal waves out of the Arctic at North America.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
I mean, fuck me, they should have learned at Hiroshima, really, shouldn't they?
Everyone should have learned.
They're seen that and then thought, fuck that, we're not going to do this anymore. The whole world should have just said, fuck it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You know, the other thing besides that today is we got a lot of numbers yesterday and today out of the big budget coming from Biden, and $715 million for the Pentagon, which is larger than the Republican budget put forth by Donald Trump. As we all know, and as I've said 100 times, Biden is a war hawk who is all about the war machine and the military-industrial complex. He is not a good person. He never has been. He is not on our side. He is only slightly better than Trump, which he is. It's hard not to be. Like that's not like praise. So he put out a bigger budget for defense when we're sitting here trying to figure out how do we get to a point where we fund college, where we fund Medicare for all, where we fund Green New Deal, infrastructure projects. Let's give more to the military-industrial complex is his
give more
answer.
To fucking teachers and education.
Look, we're only spending as much as like the next 10 countries.
Yeah,
we gotta get those numbers up.
Yeah, obviously.
These are rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers. So for anyone who thought he might be heading even slightly more progressive, I have been screaming that once he had your vote, he had no reason to go any more progressive than he did while trying to get your vote.
I mean,
so
does the language, like, does the statement "leopards don't change their spots" come into play?
Yes, very much so. So, you know, on top of that, Biden did start one thing which I've actually been hoping he would do, and that is he's opening the commission to do the research into actually recommending that we modify the Supreme Court and add more justices to the Supreme Court. And I'm all for it right now, because right now with the small numbers, one, it's easy to pack the court. Any death is near catastrophic to whichever side is mad about who's coming in. And it also allows for a much smaller amount of influence to influence major decisions. If you add 20 people to this court, get us up to like, I don't know, 29, 31, whatever. Don't do numbers. Odd numbers. But, get us somewhere up there. It becomes far less likely that the entire decision is influenced, or at least becomes far more expensive and time consuming and hard to get that many people to agree that strongly on things. And it becomes a lot harder to pack the courts. 1 or 2 deaths over a 5-year period doesn't drastically change the outlook of America's future. So I very much want a major expansion to the Supreme Court. And the one thing that people have to realize if they're against this is the people, at the current number, this was decided when the population was not even 1/10 of what it is now, that we would have that many. The amount of people that court is working for and working with is a lot larger now. The scope of issues is a lot different. It's time for it to be a larger court.
Who was the judge? I read an article, I think it was on CNN, and I mean, that's the best information I can get from America sometimes. But there was an argument on there that was arguing for one of the Supreme Justices to step down, so another RBG incident didn't occur where they could, because they're quite failing and ill.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Most of them are pretty old, except for a couple of the super recent.
There's one specific guy who is, I think he's quite ill at the moment, and they were saying he needs to step down now so Biden can replace him before the Republicans get back in and all the kind of.
I mean, do we think the Republicans are actually going to get back in soon? I don't.
Do you think the shift of polarity within U.S. politics will change now?
No, I think at this point we're at a point in America where Republicans win in a down election. So when there's less voters, the Republicans win, and they've realized that they are losing the vote. A large percentage, a much larger percentage of their base is older, and so a lot of their numbers are people who are dying off soon. You can see them having this realization over the last decade, as their attempts at voter suppression and redistricting and all these other things have stepped up to the point where they're not even hiding it anymore. There is no question about what they're doing. They aren't even trying to wrap it up in something nice. They're just literally filing bills that make sure that people can't vote because they're scared of people voting, because bigger turnout always means they lose. And what that signals to people like me is that the ideologies of the youth have moved far enough towards the left that it's much harder for Republicans to win.
But seeing ahead,
redistricting is just a nice way to say gerrymandering. I just don't like giving anyone credit for it.
Redistricting is the process that determines all the districts in the first place. Gerrymandering is the manipulation of political.
Yeah.
But do you think there will ever become a divide between almost Democrats, where you find yourself where things are getting so progressive with people younger coming in and becoming more and more progressive, where there's almost where the shift in polarity changes more left, then there will be more division between.
Weakening the Democratic Party by splitting it in half, making it basically even again with a weakened GOP. There's possibilities. I mean, I, for one, find myself, very far to the left in terms of where I put my political views, and I'm not a Democrat.
I think everyone that watches your fucking show does.
Yeah, probably. I would hope. There might be a few hate watchers, and I love all of you if you're there. But the thing is, it is getting more progressive. You wouldn't see someone like an AOC get elected if it wasn't. That's just not how this stuff goes. But will it cause a split? Well, my hope is, and this is disgusting, but my hope is that the people in power of the Democratic Party realize that they have no choice but to get more progressive here at some point, or they're going to start losing the votes. So
But
think
the most of them motherfuckers only care about votes anyway. They don't care about their constituencies. I mean, what's the old expression? There's no taxation without representation. I really feel across the board in Western world there is no fucking representation whatsoever.
no, they're there
Very
for the
true.
power.
And-
They're not there for us.
Exactly. They're only there for themselves.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
for things to change,
But that's why I said it was disgusting.
I'm fucking with Kurt on this. The fucking whole thing needs to be torn the fuck down and rebuilt.
I don't disagree. Like I've said before on the stream, I do own violentuprising.com, so everyone tell me when you're ready. We'll get it set up. You know? Although maybe I should donate that to Northern Ireland at this point.
Yeah, but that depends on what side of the fence you sit on in terms of UK politics.
I mean, in UK politics, I think the Tories are fucking idiots. I think Labour is compromised. I think the Green Party is interesting but ineffective. And I think Brexit was a Russian op.
Do you know what? I just
Am I
don't believe
close?
anything. I just don't believe anything. Like, I just.
Right?
What's the fucking point?
Yeah, so Matt Gaetz, for everyone out there following, this has been fun, right? He is fucked. He's done. It's over. I mean, it's going to be anyways. The investigations are turning into snitches, are turning into more possible charges. There's now a Venmo account log that shows him sending money to someone who is charged with sex trafficking minors. Like, it's just, and then shows that exact sum of money right afterward being sent to teen girls.
I really hope he gets put in general population.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he will not do well in general pop.
No.
I mean, he wouldn't, even if it weren't, like, regardless of what charges he was going in on, a spoiled child of privilege who never faced a consequence in his entire life, he would not do well in general pop anyway.
No, yeah, no, not at all. And there are, you know, in general pop, there aren't many people that really fall on the Republican side.
Exactly. They're just going to think.
Having hung out in general pop, it's a relatively liberal / anarchist kind of a place.
Yeah. It's very, yeah. I mean, yeah.
So I don't know.
It's a strange place, isn't it?
I am very happy that he's finally going down for his wrongdoings. I am, of course, not happy that there might be a series of victims in this one, underage girls who got trafficked into all of this. But I am happy that Gaetz is going to go down for something that is probably career-ending.
How fucking ironic is it, though?
Well, what? That the Republicans all keep getting popped for child porn and trafficking young girls, and then it turns out that, you know, they're just hypocrites when they keep arguing about the Democratic, side having their pizzas, in their dungeons and whatnot. Yeah, no.
You know, I can't even, like, at this point, it's been going on for so long that I can't even really appreciate the irony anymore. We've been doing this for how many decades now? I mean, we had Dennis Hastert, who was the Speaker of the House, then went to prison for, molesting children. And, like, that's just one of, like, a dozen examples you could pick. It's been going on for, like, 30 years at this point.
As Valfall says in the chat, that it's always the easiest, simplest way to say it.
Yeah.
Every accusation the Republicans make is a confession. It is crazy, but, we can all be happy that Gaetz is going through what he's going through.
Gregg,
because
it's
horrible.
A question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Ron was Q?
I think what?
Ron was Q.
Rom?
Ron was Q.
Oh, Ron was Q.
Oh, no.
Not the original.
No, definitely not the original.
Posted as Q,
I think Jim was Q for a while. But it's a group. It's not just one person posting. It's a people maintaining. But I do not think Ron was ever actually Q. I mean, maybe influenced, his father and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think it was mostly Jim.
That guy needs to be locked up.
Yeah, but I mean, for many reasons. There's a reason that that Jim fled the country. And doesn't come back. Because he would be locked up if he came back. And well deserved. So yeah, I mean, the Q stuff has been interesting because you know they went a lot deeper on the anonymous side of things and on the Cortaner side of things in the last couple episodes. And I was really hoping to get to talk to Kurt about that tonight, but you know, obviously we know that Kurt is still asleep, which is a well-deserved sleep, as I'm sure we are all aware. There are many people in the chat here who kept chiming in on the last 48-hour stream that only ended last night. So I do think Kurt is working himself up to trying like a full like 4-day stream at some point in the next few weeks. I think he wants to get close to going for the record, which also means he needs to reach out to Twitch so they don't kill the thing and have him restart over and over throughout it, because they might do it. He is a maniac. The strangest thing is watching him. You know, at 30 hours, he's still fully lucid, no issues whatsoever. At 40, he's still mostly there. Like, you could almost not tell unless you really stare at, you know, the red starting to form in his eyes. At like 48 hours, you can then tell. At 48 hours, you're like, okay, this guy hasn't slept in days. What's going on? You can see it, like his head is doing this thing, you know? that whole
I don't know how
flowing.
it does it. Like 10 hours I'm awake and I feel like that.
Well, I don't have it anymore. I mean, after I got sick last year, especially, like I just I used to be able to go for long periods of time, but not that long. Just a lot longer than I can now. It's absolutely nuts. I'm enjoying watching it though. I just also spend most of my time watching it, telling him to go to sleep, which I hope he appreciates because you know it's all done out of love. I'm not complaining. I am still enjoying the streams. Yeah, so, you know, the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight is the White Lives Matter protests that have all been being planned. So for people,
is that a serious thing?
Yeah, so for people who weren't paying attention to this the last few days, a group on Telegram named White Lives Matter was the public facing group that you could get into, the public facing chat. We're talking about planning for April 11th, which is this Sunday, events all over the country. And they have many cities who are supposed to be protesting, including Boston here. And they were not willing to say when the protest was going to be, like a time, or where in each city it was going to be. So like in Boston, we don't know which of the like 5 or 6 locations people normally protest that it's going to end up at, like the State House or City Hall or the major parks or anything, right? We don't know.
I mean,
and what they were
surely
doing,
that should become Punch and Nazi Day.
Right? Well, here's where it gets better. Because they were banning anyone in the chat who either mentioned a location it could possibly be at or asked where it was going to be. They were that scared that we were going to find out where and majorly counter them that you would get banned for bringing up the idea of mentioning a location. Now, here in well, actually in New York was my favorite one. In New York, the actual planning channel for White Lives Matter's event in New York was started by a lefty Antifa associated, fun guy who we all love. And I'm just not gonna say who, but we love this person. And they were able to sit there and start the channel, get them all to join, and then they all planned in front of them while the entire channel was logged. And all of those logs are now in the hands of a bunch of journalists who are going over it and writing articles about it. And I thought that was the pinnacle of this is awesome. And then it turns out that the White Lives Matter group on Telegram was the public face, but there was another one, Admins of WLM, which was a different Telegram channel that was private and you had to be invited into, where the real, actual people putting this together were. And in that chat, they were a bunch of Proud Boys, a bunch of Nazis like the NSC, the National Socialists. And they were talking constantly about, do not associate anyone's group name to it. This is not a Proud Boys event. This is not an NSC event. This is not a Patriot Front event.
So they're cowards.
And I would say unite the right.
Oh, well,
So
no, what they were saying was, this is a grassroots event. We've got to make it look like a bunch of locals did this. Now, we know this because it turns out someone was in those chats logging everything and sent it to a bunch of journalists. So Raw Story has it, Daily Beast has it, they're reporting on some of it. There's quotes from the chats which are freaking hilarious. There is more people getting banned from that chat for saying shit that they shouldn't. But when we talk about, like, here in Boston, especially, like, you know, it being Punch Nazi Day and whatnot, even in those articles, like, especially on the Daily Beast, they mention the NSC, the National Socialist Club, which is kind of our local Nazi group, run by Chris Hood, Andrew Petrocelli, just a group of local Nazis, really just huge pieces of shit. Like, even if you didn't know they were Nazis and you tried to interact with them, you'd want to punch them. They're just assholes. So the NSC, the actual literal local Nazis who are okay with that name, are the ones organizing our local event. And they are also leaky, and so we know all about it. And it's just it's wow. So what I find,
do you think this is a product of the American education system and
how stupid the people on the right are when they try and keep things a secret?
Yeah, like not even that, but like as most of you know in chat, I actually was fortunate enough to live in America for 3 years. I was with a teacher, and she got really underfunded for everything, and she explained to me like the whole gerrymandering thing, but also the fact that education is so underfunded in a lot of these states that it is basically just keeping people dumb.
Yeah, like, you get to a level,
is, and that's deliberate.
Yeah, it's deliberate, absolutely. I mean,
like, how the fuck
we could talk about redlining and all kinds of other stuff like that if we wanted, but yeah, it's it definitely plays a role. I would say that you have that, and then you have generational kind of you know, effects where the parents are exactly this person. They are racist, they are Nazis, they are whatever, and they bring their child up as one. You know, it's hard to escape. You know, who your parents were. If you honestly like love these people and really want to emulate them as children often do, it's hard to escape that. So a lot of these people are simply created generationally, like you know, their parents and their parents' parents. And that's not to take any blame off of them. They're still pieces of shit, but like you can look to the systemic reasons as to why they exist and why they believe what they believe.
For that. It's not like an.
Well, yeah, and American history that's taught in our schools is not close to the truth or inclusive in any way. I still remember in Texas a lot of my childhood books when they showed Native Americans. They had smiles on their faces during interactions with the white people, and that was less common than those books made apparent there. Slightly less common. I find it
so funny, in the UK, they do not teach about the American war with us. Right? They don't teach it at all. It wasn't until I was about 23 years old that I even learned what the fuck had happened.
Like all the real facts.
Whatever fucking war we lost, they just kind of swept it under the carpet and, like, you know, teach about the other things.
Yeah, well, you know, over here it's always interesting because, like, literally today someone asked me to put my John Hancock on something, and I had to just go with it because, like, I don't like being told to do that when I'm signing something, because John Hancock, while being one of the founding fathers who signed all the documents, was a real fucking piece of shit. And he shouldn't be held up to such high regard simply because he helped fund the rebels. Which,
I mean, honestly, the reason he's even famous is that it's just that he had a big ass goddamn signature.
Exactly. The only reason he's famous is because people recognize what he wrote. Like,
right? Yeah,
two words.
A lot of people don't seem to understand the history by all of that, but like one of the things that if you ever wanted to look up a lot more about John Hancock and, you know, some of our founding fathers, he was a slave runner, he was a smuggler, he was charged with rape on, I believe it's 16 occasions. He was suspected in the murder of over 100 people during his lifetime, some by his bare hands, some by order, and his initial funding of the rebellion was simply to keep the Redcoats from finding him, arresting his ass, and taking him back to England to face what they would have considered justice at that time for all the shit he was doing. He wanted to put a group of people between him and the Redcoats, so he funded the rebels just to keep himself safe from basically arrest. Like, people don't know all these, like, I wouldn't say fun facts, because they're not. This guy's a complete fucking piece of shit, but, like, it's absolutely insane. So when I was told to put my J on Hancock on, I was like, yeah. I'm
So
not
you live in
having this
Boston,
argument.
yeah?
Yeah, I
You
live in Boston.
don't you? So the first time I ever learnt about the Boston Tea Party was when that big fucking boat they've got in the harbour right there, where they do all the shows on the Tea Party and everything like that. That was the first time I'd ever learned as an English person about the Boston Tea Party. So I was on the boat and they were talking about the English and everything like that. I was like, what the fuck?
We have the same problems here with the way our history is taught.
And people here that like know about the Boston Tea Party still have very little idea what it was actually about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely.
And they kept picking me out in the crowd because I was English, and they were like, "What do you think on this?" I was like, "I actually have no idea."
Oh wow. Yeah. So I don't know. One thing that I do really want to request is, as I find a few minutes here, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. The ideas and suggestions channel on Discord is a great place to like tell me you want a thing to happen in chat. Like if you find a Twitch bot that we should have installed, or an emote that I should add, or something I could add for channel points, and you want to like explain it to me and see if everyone else agrees with it and we add it, like that'd be awesome. Like it's something that I want to have a little more of. And time has been not as good to me the last few days. I will say this. I'm getting vaccinated in a few days. On Wednesday, on the 14th, and I'm hoping that it all goes well. But I have been told that there could be a day or two of me not feeling well. So we will see next Wednesday how I'm feeling for showtime. I'm gonna try and do it, but like, if I'm in bed because I'm so nauseous I don't want to move, which I've been told the Johnson & Johnson is doing to some people, well then, there I am. We will see. This is the first time, no wait, this is the second time that a guest on the show has donated subs during the show, so thank you, Ruby.
I listened to Dev on the podcast you did.
Yeah, Dev did it too.
Everyone should do 5 subscriptions every time they're on. So I do try and do that myself as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, chat, what do you guys want to hear about? I mean, normally today we have Cortana on, and you know how insane that goes. We've talked about a lot of kind of the major topics I wanted to bring in. For everyone wondering about Dev has not, of course, been in chat for a while, has not been on the show for a little while, has not even been that active on Discord for a little while. Life. That's the description of what's going on there. Life is just, doing its thing. We all love Dev. Dev reached out to me a couple days ago to say Dev is not gone. Dev will be back shortly.
Priorities. It's priorities.
Priorities. There's stuff to do in life that doesn't involve being in my chat. So he will be back definitely soon. Once things calm down a little. I mean, Amazon stopping unions, so we talked about that a little. Yeah. Dev is not banned. Dev is dealing with family stuff and some other fun things, but not fun things really, but not banned. So we're good there. With the Amazon stopping the unions, I mean, I'm really upset by it because it looked like they had a pretty good run going, and I don't know, the one thing that I take from this, besides just the fact that one of the unions failed, which is going to make it even harder for others, to try in other states, there was a playbook designed here by Amazon. And when you look at it in terms of what they did, what tactics they used, the types of websites they put out, the types of advertising they did, the astroturfing, which is, setting up a bunch of fake accounts all over the internet and then having those accounts interact like they're workers, and they built a really strong playbook and proved that through those methods, they could keep the vote under 20%.
To be fair, most of that playbook already exists and used for quite a while. There are dedicated union-busting firms in the
There are.
Isn't that just the corporate handbook?
There are, but this is at a scale that is different.
Oh yeah, no, they did like put some different pieces together. They
Yeah,
added a few
exactly.
new components, but
Like
most
they've
of
written
it
a
was
new
there.
chapter to an existing book. Then,
Yes,
like, but
yes.
it's not a chapter we wanted written. I'm really scared about it because you know, just because that state failed doesn't mean other states can't. However, what it does mean is Amazon knows what works, and a lot of those other states are going to be, I don't know, they're gonna be unenthusiastic about the effort because they saw how bad it went there. It has a dampening effect on everyone's morale, and it's scary. It's scary to see because we need unions in places like this. Or something else that was mentioned in chat earlier, simply to stop there being work environments where people feel the need to piss in bottles instead of having bathroom breaks.
That's a fucking joke, that is.
It really is. I mean, yeah. I don't know what's to, about that. I mean,
That's against human rights. Like that like not
Oh,
against human rights.
absolutely.
yeah. Well, so a lot of people did make troll accounts on the Amazon stuff, and besides just the actual stuff Amazon was doing, not a fan. At some point, a lot of us, including you've seen Kurt, get to a point where he was even really emotional about it. We've learned what effects that level of effort can take from someone who knows what they're doing, and what it can cause. And a lot of us have stopped doing stuff like that because, past events that we know we had a hand in. And I really hope that the people who did all of the trolling on the Amazon accounts that weren't actually getting paid by Amazon, so they were just literal trolls, realize what they've done and stop it. It's not a healthy way to be. It's not good for society. It's ugh. Yeah, not a fan. Ugh.
Well, next, what does chat wants to talk about? Before we go into this, whoever hasn't subscribed, whoever hasn't followed, whoever hasn't gone on Discord, just fucking do it.
Seriously, what are you doing?
Right?
Yeah, so I'm checking over here. Nope. The Aubrey signal has not been fired. Kurt is still asleep, I do believe. Yeah, everyone. So, I don't know. We're about an hour in here. What else could we talk about? I'm so used to not preparing that much for Fridays anymore because we have some crazy shit to talk about with Kurt. There's a bunch of interesting stuff going on in the hacking spaces. Multiple Myanmar hacks have happened again.
Sorry that I'm the special guest. I've just kind of filled in for.
Hey everybody, give Ruby a shout out here because with like 5 minutes to go, I complained in chat that we didn't know what we were gonna do, and Ruby stepped up, and this is Ruby's first time on any kind of a show like this. So some applause for that man right there. Just stepping up, and also for Tucking Fipos for all the suggestions for the better TTV stuff, and getting those into the chat here. As for Jeremy's question about Minecraft, I'm still playing it. Definitely. Luckily, a lot of the shit I do in terms of the fun stuff I'm up to, that just can't be talked about in real time on streams, but I'm sure happens randomly in documentaries down the line. A lot of it involves progress bars or waiting for hours for things to finish. And you know what I do while I'm watching all of that, because I have to respond like the second they end, or if they crash or air out or anything else. I play Minecraft. It's great because I get to focus on the stuff I'm doing, but also that it's been a life changer for me, for one, because it's actually allowed me to get more of the shit done that I want to get done, because it gives me something to do that is really keeping my mind engaged. I'm not getting tired. I'm not getting bored. I'm running off and doing other things. I'm still sitting here watching all these horrible progress bars and other things I'm doing and other chats I'm in, while also doing something really entertaining that's keeping me going. So I'm really glad that that you guys kind of encouraged that to end up happening. I have ended up with a Windows laptop in my possession, and so I think I am capable of streaming a little better in terms of Minecraft. So I am going to work with Kurt for his next big one, and see if we can do some Minecrafting. I can teach him how it works, how you do everything, what goes down there. I can show everyone the village we're building, which is just, it shouldn't be entertaining me as much as it is, but it really is fucking entertaining me. I'm enjoying it. You know, if you're saying that's a cool thing we can do, San Antonio, then let's fucking do it. Yeah, you know, NFTs. Let's talk this because, like, you know how fast things get monetized by the rich at this point? Like, it starts off with a bunch of people like Beeple and whatnot suddenly becoming millionaires, and now Tom Brady is getting into the NFT space. That Tom Brady, the quarterback, he is starting an NFT system that is called Autograph, and it is for sports memorabilia, like autographs that are like one-offs that are really for you, that are provably like yours in ownership and done for you and all this shit. Like, I mean, I gotta say, technologically, I think it's an interesting solution to a problem, and it's the first interesting solution to a problem I've actually seen this shit done. But also, fuck Tom Brady, everything he stands for and everything he's ever done in his life. And also the environmental impact for autographs. I mean, come on. I've been waiting for someone to at least apply this to a thing that needs a solution. Like, art, I can just go buy and hang on my damn wall. Like, so I own it because it's on my wall. It's mine. An autograph, you've got to get authenticated. You've got to do all this work. You've got to prove ownership. And then also prove that, like, this autograph was made for me. It wasn't something I bought that was made for someone else. So, like, technologically, that makes some sense. But also, it's a huge environmental impact for fucking autographs. So stop it.
That's a fucking joke.
Right?
That's a fucking joke.
Yeah, like, I mean, what the hell, dude? Yeah, I would download a Mona Lisa and a car. I would download a Mona Lisa in a car. You know. Ugh. Yeah, Tom Brady, God. I mean, I live up here in Boston. I have to hear it from all of his damn fans. Fuck that guy.
Just on that note, I've just started playing Madden. So if anyone in chat wants a game of Madden,
nice.
I'll give them a game. And that's come from someone from England that has no idea about American football. So,
I mean, yeah, you know, I'm a bigger fan of well, I'll call it soccer since I'm over here in America, but of actual football.
Do you play FIFA?
I do. However, old FIFA on emulators. Once games had more than like 4 buttons, I was done. I can't. I know.
Like FIFA 98.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it. I will play Tecmo Bowl if we can somehow get an emulator that actually will allow us to play 2-player Tecmo Bowl over the internet.
I will sort that out.
Because that's where I am. Like, you know, give me some old school NES. Yeah, FIFA on the Saturn was amazing. I loved the Saturn, man. I was really hoping that Project Pluto actually came to fruition, and then it didn't. And of course, the Dreamcast was awesome, but also short-lived. I am quite the old game fan. Good times.
I really need a Wii, so I'll be back in about a minute.
Yeah. So everyone over there in chat, we are just randomly chatting at this point. Yeah, I'm a big emulator fan. You know, back in the old school days, I was, you know, in the channel on EFNet as, you know, people were figuring a lot of this shit out. One of my roommates before, who has been in the chat, I don't think they're there tonight. I haven't seen them chat. Actually helped write a lot of emulation code that's still out there, and I believe still in use. So one of the people who on the Discord and whatnot is big in that scene. If I remember being the roommate correctly, like a lot of the code that actually gave us proper emulation of the PC Engine or TurboGrafx CD drive that had like Vampire Hunter and stuff like that on it, he wrote. That was work. And it was really fun. Actually getting to roommate with someone who was also into that space and doing work at that level. A lot of fun. And of course, XO, I absolutely do. Yeah. So XO is actually relatively local. I mean, not all the way local, but relatively local. Yeah. Let's do lunch or something. I mean, I'm getting the vaccine in a few days. Let's go. XO is an old friend for everyone who doesn't know, and maybe one day we'll have XO on the show too if they're up for it. Talk about some old times, the good times, not the bad times. Because with all old friends, there are both. Well, I mean, if either of you, have any emotion at all, there are always both. Good times. Wow, yeah, no, the emulation stuff. I mean, I've actually been looking at emulation boxes for the last few days, thinking about, how do I acquire one of these pre-built ones that already has all the shit done, so I don't have to worry about setting up the menus, getting all the graphics in, making it look pretty. I don't want to do all that work, but I want it. I have a hard drive that might or might not have, everything. But all the work to make it look pretty and easy and on the TV. There are, on AliExpress, there are, boxes that just do it all and have HDMI out and have good Bluetooth wireless controllers for, $100. So as soon as all of my bills are paid up, I might end up with one of those. That would be
I don't know if
awesome.
you've spoken about it already, but if anyone isn't involved, Gregg's Minecraft server is really fun. And it's a really good community place where we can all do shit together. So if you want to get involved, it's on
Yeah.
Discord.
I've typed it into the chat there, but the Minecraft server is at espionage.io. Yeah, I know it takes a couple weeks and all that, but all socially distanced, wear a mask, all that fun stuff. We've got outside dining here at big tables at a tavern that's literally a block from me. So you can sit 5 feet from each other and eat and still be at the same table. They've done a good job of setting that up right. But yes, I do know that it's a couple weeks, and that sucks.
I'm so excited. Monday is the first day the pub's open in England.
That feels a little early. Just gonna set that out there. It's a little soon. For anyone who is actually into the Bedrock stuff, the Minecraft stuff that we've been doing, I will say I learned an interesting thing that the reason we don't have the ability to add custom servers on the Xbox or the PlayStation, and we only have that on the Windows and the mobile version, is that all those partner servers that are listed, the 6 or 7 that you can connect to that are just there when you install it, they banded together and formed kind of a consortium, went to the console groups, the Xbox group, even though that is still Microsoft, but it's a different group, and to Sony with the PlayStation group, and said, you're either going to list us or have the add server button, but you're not doing both. And both consoles were like, we can't have a Minecraft game without Cube and Hive and all the others. I mean, no one will buy that. So they caved, and it was thanks to all the big server groups that we don't have add server on the consoles. Yeah.
Gregg, can I put a little plug out?
Yeah.
There's a documentary, and I know the guy that's actually done it because I went to school with him. There's a documentary on Netflix called Seaspiracy.
Yep.
And it's really fucking good.
What's it about?
Watch it. It's one of them documentaries that transforms as you watch it. So he starts out looking at the death of ocean animals and everything like that, and it's very progressive in its nature, and it takes you through. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to say, but
Seaspiracy, so spelled out SEA.
SEA Spiracy. It's on Netflix.
Awesome. Well, I know what I'm watching tomorrow during the day while I'm doing other stuff.
You won't eat fish again after.
Luckily, I don't eat fish now. So My diet sucks. You know, not in terms of like health. I literally can't eat like 90% of the food on this planet. So I was not made for this world.
I hope Dr. Benway's watched it because I told him to watch it.
Yeah. So chat, are we just rambling? Do you want us to keep rambling? Do you have any other topics you want to talk about? Yeah, I don't eat any seafood of any kind. So the small amount of time I lived in Japan, that was actually really problematic because they eat a lot of seafood. And the cheapest thing you can eat there is seafood. So I had to eat, and I think I've said this on chat on the show once or twice, but I had to eat from the American section of the grocery store.
Tiny.
And it's a very small little section. I mean, I'm talking like it was like 4 feet, like long. Like it wasn't even as big as like our like kosher sections or our Mexican sections or something that we have here at American grocery stores. It was a little section, and
It's
it was
like
a
the
very
size of an ethnic food section at like 7-Eleven.
yeah, like like it had like 30 projects and 30 like things that had like Frosted Flakes and like like Campbell's soup. Like it was very like. Also very like big brands only too, like and it was so expensive. Oh my god. A box of Frosted Flakes was $24. And that's like what? Like come on. No, I didn't eat seafood while I lived on the Florida Keys. I lived on Marathon for a little while, and that was a blast. That was so much fun. Getting to go swimming.
How fun is the Florida Keys? That's my favorite place in the world.
I absolutely loved it there. I lived, so my house was at the end of the street, and so my sliding glass door wasn't on the back of the house, it was on the side of the house, because that was the actual beach. And we were only like 30 feet from the actual water, so you could go stand at the sliding glass door, and there was the ocean, and you couldn't see anything out there. It was just, there was the ocean. And that was really freaking cool. It was a lot of fun. We had at the end of my street, we had just like the concrete actually just kind of wet, and then there was sand. But then off to the, like my house is here, there's a little bit of trees, and then there's a big cove that comes in, that goes in like 50, 60 yards. So it was just like a little U shape that came in that was like 50 feet deep. And that was where
did you scuba dive there?
Yeah, and a school of barracuda lived in that little cove. So like 100 of them. I mean, it was a gigantic school of barracuda with their big teeth and everything. And what was amazing is you could go down into that. You could get up in historical gear, so you can go back up to the top quickly.
Yeah.
But you'd go down there, and as long as you had nothing shiny, you didn't piss them off. They would swim around you, and for people who don't know about barracuda, they can change their color just like a lot of other animals, like chameleons and whatnot. They change it really fast. Like they can do like rainbows down their side, like rotating through like light shows and shit, like if they feel like it. So you would be in the water, and they would surround you, like the school surrounds you, and they're all going in the direction you're going. And as you swim, they stay tightly packed around you, and they all take your colors. So like the ones up near the top are kind of all fleshy colored, and then down near whatever you're wearing for swim trunks, they all kind of are that color. So from the top, if you're looking down from high enough, it looks like there's this giant blob human underwater. And for anyone who didn't know, like I had friends visit and whatnot, when they saw like me down there swimming with the barracuda, they'd be like, "Oh shit, the barracuda are gonna kill him." I'm like, no, they just don't really want you exactly in their area, so they escort you out of the cove. But they don't attack you or anything. They just would like you to leave. And so you get near the cove, and they would do it. I never, like, I tried to be nice to them, like, because I didn't also want them to get used to me and then decide, fuck this guy, because he won't stop it. I have no idea if they could, though. Like, I'm, who knows? Like, I was, a lot younger then.
They wouldn't attack a human. I've scuba dived a lot.
But like they don't. So like, but all my friends saw the teeth and whatnot, were like scared shitless about it, of course. They're like, what's going on here? But yeah, I mean, they were like barracuda bouncers. Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was great. I loved just being able to wake up in the morning and get cleaned up and just walk out the side door and go into the ocean. Like, that was amazing.
Someone told me that the Keys have their own. The guy that taught me how to scuba dive, he was like, the Keys have their own life force, because if you lay there at night and you listen to the waves crashing on the shore, it's almost like a heartbeat.
Yep.
And he genuinely thought that the different Keys had their own heartbeats and their own life force, and he was a
Each
cool
key
dude.
has a feel to it. Like,
Yeah.
when you're in a major city and there's different burbs and there's different feels to different areas of town. Like, Chicago, everyone always talks about the south side, the north side, the east side, the west side. Like,
Yeah.
every key is like that. If you wanted to be like that old hippie who kind of just wanted to live nearly off the grid and in a trailer, but you were still like green
Yeah.
and growing fruit in your front yard and shit like that. Well, those people all lived on Key Largo. And they all still do. Like, that's their community. Like, they have really kind of like, sectioned off. Like, I lived on Marathon, and Marathon was interesting for the fact that it was a lot of people who had moved to the Keys, didn't grow up there, weren't even from Florida. Like, a lot of the people who came in from outside were there.
Escapists.
Yeah,
Escapists.
like, our island was the one that had the McDonald's on it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to Marathon myself.
Yeah, so I lived right over by Sombrero Beach, right over by the big fucking sombrero. I loved it down there. I was there when they still had both of the 7 Mile bridges up, and they were still building the new one.
I saw you write about that the other day with the two that go parallel to each other.
Yeah. And for people who didn't see that, the bomb blowing up on the 7 Mile bridge in True Lies in the movie is not real. That was special effects.
No, that's completely fucking fake.
But one of the things that's funny is if you go to Marathon and you talk to some old people, there are still people there who will tell you they heard the explosion. Like, it's whatever, but like, yeah, no, it didn't happen. I was there like at the time, so like it did not happen. The thing that with the replacement bridge that was always interesting to me was the reasoning for needing to build the bigger bridge, because that's an expensive project. This is a bridge that's literally 7 miles over open ocean between two islands, and it's really deep there too. It's not like this is open ocean, and they had to replace the bridge. That is a big infrastructure project. They did it because 18-wheelers, the trucks, when they were going down the old bridge, when they would get side by side, some of them literally, if they just had exhaust that stuck out 5 inches more than they normally did, they would tap each other, and one of the trucks would go flying off the side of the bridge into the ocean. So, after, like, while I lived there, we had 6 of them. They decided that they were going to fix that. And they did. They started also shipping a lot of goods while they were building this other bridge. So trucks would stop, they would put them on boats at the other island, they would bring them down, they would stop by Marathon, then go to Key Largo, then from Key Largo they would go on to Key West. But they did a lot of work just to keep trucks from falling into the water, because all the concrete pylons there on that bridge are big hammerhead shark. Like, there's big schools of hammerhead sharks there, and so like, hammerheads are interesting because they're not the most aggressive of sharks, but they still will fuck with you. They still will come at you. Now you can. I mean, I've been in the water like 10 feet from a hammerhead. Like, you get the feel that you could just like put your hands out and grab the sides of their heads, and that's fine. But like, that one's not going to be able to bite you while you're doing it. But they can push you awfully fast, and you're gonna slip off. It's not actually like you aren't strong enough to fight them like that.
But as an ecological issue, there's a lot of things. A lot of before COVID happened, there's a lot of tourist things going on where, in places like the Caribbean and in Eastern Asia, Thailand areas, where they are physically feeding sharks to make them a tourist attraction, and it makes the sharks more comfortable around humans, and more, and that's where the trouble comes from, because they might not bite you to eat you and attack you like as a prey, but they will associate you with food. So they will come up to you and have a little fucking nibble, and a little nibble from a shark to a human is
painful.
Serious damage.
Yeah, I mean, my closest actual encounter with a shark, besides being actually out like for half a mile off when we were literally, scubaing, and I had multiple different types of sharks swim near me, like upwards of like 5 feet, like close, like that's fine, like whatever. They're just going by. Sometimes they'll look at you. You get used to it. But actually, close to shore, I was going down and I'm grabbing some sand dollars and shit because my mom actually wanted a few. and I was gonna send them back to her like real ones that I collected, you know. But
Yeah.
I accidentally got down to the bottom and then stepped on the sand, and a tiger shark popped out from the sand. I thought its head was actually a rock, but looking at it now, I knew it was a fucking, like, if you just looked at it harder, that
Did
was
it
not
have
a
the
rock.
teeth?
And I stepped on it, and it popped out. I think this motherfucker's gonna attack me. No, it popped out and just kept going. Like, it shot off like a bullet.
Here.
I was like, oh, well, thanks for leaving. Oh, wow, yeah. It was fun living on an island, man. That was a good time. But I was also at a different point in my life where I was basically just a criminal. And it afforded me the ability to live on an island. And living on an island was a little interesting because there were a lot of other criminals down there in the...
Dude, I lived on an island for 3-4 years.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
My island was very different to your island, but
Yes.
it was still fun.
Right,
More out in the middle of nowhere where no one could fucking even get to, so it's cool.
Yeah, it's fun shit, man. I love the escapism angle of all of that.
Yeah.
Good times. So what else, chat? I've been going on about my fun times down in Florida. I did nearly get arrested for standing on the farthest point south in America fucking pylon thing sitting at the end of Key West, which is clearly marked not to do so. But whatever.
Have you seen the people that always get their big fucking waves come and they get knocked the fuck off their feet?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, there are a lot of people who go down there and have fun and don't understand. I mean, off of our island, there were a couple spots that you knew better. Like, there was a specific zone that was basically a riptide zone. That if you got about 10 feet down at this, like, general area, expect some coral cuts all over your body, because those waves were going to push you down into the coral and then drag you along them. And you would have to tell people, like, right over there, don't go over there if the waves are above, like, 4 feet.
Dude, I nearly died in
Yeah.
I nearly died in Biarritz in the southwest of France.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a big surfing destination.
Yeah.
And like, I was only 11 or 12 years old, and I stepped on a fish called a weaver fish. And this is one of these kind of fishes that has like 5 or 6 2 to 1 inch spines along its back, and it buries itself in the sand. And they're really fucking lethal. So I stepped on this motherfucker while I was trying to bodyboard as like a 10 or 11-year-old. And it nearly knocked me out as soon as I stood on it. And I nearly got caught in the riptide and took straight out into the Atlantic Ocean unconscious. So if you are going in the sea, guys, be fucking careful.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. You know, might see some videos, but if you're just playing at the area that you can stand up in and your head's still above water, that's totally fine. Have fun with it, but anything more than that, and that is problematic. I mean, so Chad has mentioned the Jefferson Davis chair a few times. I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, so the Jefferson Davis chair is stolen. They say put up a banner or else. So we're going to turn it into a toilet. I mean, at this point, the Daughters of the Confederacy, who are, of course, pure evil, have the chair back. So I wish they had gotten nothing more than firewood kindling back, but they got the chair back. Whether it was or was not used as a toilet, I mean, I'm going to assume that if the threat was made, then it was carried out.
I see no reason they wouldn't carry it out.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, in my version of reality, I'm going to write the story that it did happen. You know, that's where I am with this one.
That seems right.
Yes. Yeah, fucking rip currents are a son of a bitch, too.
Yeah, they are. Even if they're not coral.
Yeah, even without the coral, like, just dragging along the bottom, even if it's not coral, it's still gonna cut you up.
And, like, it's so disorientating. You have no idea which way is actually up.
No.
Very.
Good times.
Don't go in the sea, basically.
I mean, you can have fun out there, just, you know... There is proper training to be had depending on what you're wanting to do. I mean, if you literally want to go, like, swim in areas that are shark infested, you could do that safely. Yeah. You just...
There are people that will take you to do that.
Yeah, you just better also, when they say we need to go through these few days of training first, and get you to understand your equipment, and then you need to do what I say when I say it, listen to them. You know, actually, like, take the introductory to scuba diving course before you try and put that gear on and then go underwater with it all completely connected wrong, and you suffocate yourself. Or you know,
I'm a paddy dive master.
Yeah, so you know. So you tell everyone to show up with sparkly necklaces on and big diamond rings, right?
Well, yeah, pretty much, yeah. Just take all tourist money and fuck off.
You're right, yeah. I mean, you know, I'm gonna take them out a mile into the water. We'll both jump off, and then when they jump, I just take the boat back. You know, whatever, right? I mean, is that the move? Like, just do that to all the rich people?
Do you know what?
Don't eat the rich people.
Back,
just
now you say it,
feed them to the sharks.
Maybe.
Oh my God. I don't know. I think I think you wouldn't get any bad reviews online, as there'd be no one to review. Well, maybe their family members. Maybe their family members might get mad. Yeah. Well, all of a sudden, the governor of Texas has decided that kids in cages is bad. Because of
As
course.
if he didn't know.
Yeah, of course. I mean, feed the rich to other animals. Let's do that. I don't want to. I'm like, that whole eat the rich thing has always confused me. Like, redistribute their money and feed them to lions sounds better to me. I mean, you know, whatever, right? Like, I mean, just, you know, sharks, I don't care. Orca whales, let's have fun.
Fucking laser beams.
You know, well, I mean, China does have laser beams in space now, so let's just go from there. I mean, let's go real genius on all the rich people, right? I mean, all you need is the target tracking mirror there, and what is it? 5 megawatt laser, gigawatt laser. What did they say the power output was of that thing? Yeah, like, I mean, still, like, good times, great movie.
So
that will always
lasers
be
coming in from the sky, and then you've got nuclear tsunamis coming in from the sea. You're pretty fucked, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, now that the Chinese have lasers in the sky and the Russians can make radioactive tsunamis, like, let's go. Let's live in that world. I'm sure whoever created these things had the best of intentions.
And
Wow, yeah. Good times. I don't know, everyone. I don't feel like we are going to get a visit from Aubrey tonight. I think we're done on that front. Weather like Geostorm. You know, let's just hope that happens soon. Because I'd be happy with everything done.
Doxy has a
thing.
Go on, Greg, you plug it, not me.
Yeah. So Doxy in the chat here. For everyone who doesn't know, Doxy is the one who makes all the awesome channel art that we have. So whenever you see those cool pictures of Cortana or any of our other guests that we tweet out or any of that fun stuff, that's all Doxy. When you see cool shit on the server, because like I couldn't figure out how to make one of the 1,000 things the Discord server is supposed to do work, Doxy probably figured that out. Maybe with the help of a few others like Tucking Pipos and others, but like Doxy's been doing a hell of a lot of support around here. We freaking love Doxy. So Doxy has Punks in the Woods, and it's kind of like a non-profit outdoor
and there's some
punk
really
festival.
good bands on there.
And they do. I think right now they're doing it in a club, but they have punk bands on. They do live shows. They talk in the middle. They do a lot of fundraising for the events. Everyone should go. I believe the next event, I think I saw it go by in chat, is on the 24th, so a couple weeks from now. And everyone should go subscribe to that YouTube channel that I pasted in the chat so they get notified. Make sure to hit that bell so it actually notifies you, which is the dumbest fucking thing that I have to hit 2 buttons to get it to notify me. But yes, do all of those fun things. And the 24th, it is going to be good. It's going to be a live stream of just a bunch of good music, good bands. I love it.
If you're on Discord, you would know all this already. So if you don't, get on fucking Discord and subscribe and fucking follow.
Yeah, they are on Twitch too. If you want to get on Twitch and use cheers and all the other fun stuff, you can. I guess the bot's ignoring me or lagged. Strange. I did spell Discord right in the chat there, didn't I? Huh. Okay, bot. Well, you do you. Whatever.
There it is.
There it is.
There you go.
That bot must be lagging. People must be slamming it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things we're going to be doing, probably, I would say, with where Kurt is right now with his random, massively long streams is, and his, probable move here shortly, is we're going to get a stream going that's like a solid full day of me and him Minecrafting and everyone else who wants to join in. Him learning how to do it, us having fun building shit out, be showing him how redstone works, because I think he's going to love that shit. I at first had the thoughts, he's got a bit of an addictive, obsessive mind when it comes to, like, the next thing he's going to do. That Minecraft might be a bad thing to introduce to someone with that mind, but at the same time, I also think that he's going to really enjoy it, so we'll have to see how this goes.
I mean, ADD's a fucker for hyper intensiveness, isn't it?
Yeah. And everyone can see he's got it quite strong. Yeah, so follow, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff for Punks in the Woods. Also for me here, if anyone isn't subbed, please do. I think we're gonna call it a night. We're hitting 2 hours here. I think that's a pretty good show. I'm kind of done with the rambling. I think I'm gonna go do dinner now. Ate a late lunch for everyone, not thinking like,
fucking 2 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah, and also for Ruby, it's 2 in the morning. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could beat Minecraft in a couple hours if you get quick at it. I mean, the Ender Dragon isn't actually that hard. But yeah. Anyways, wow, talking Minecraft on. It's gonna be weird when I actually stream a little of that. Now that I'm gonna be testing it out over the weekend and seeing how, like, to get my stream up and working. I don't know if I'm gonna go live. But there you are. Okay, you're just taking the mask off, huh? Fuck it. Hi, everybody. Anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna be testing it. I might actually start things up later tonight, but it's probably gonna be over the weekend that anyone see me actually go, like, live or anything. I mean, isn't this the cutest motherfucker who's been on the show yet? Come on, chat, show him some love. Anyways, good night, everyone. This has been great. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us, rambling. If Kurt happens to show up and want to do a show tomorrow night or something, we might do a little special episode. We'll see how that goes. But good night, everyone.
Good night.